Everyone, thanks for stopping by and seeing what I'm up to. My name is Silky Feather, and you can call me Silky. On we go with Unfuck Your Habitat by, pardon me, by Rachel Hoffman. Read by Emily Woo Zeller.
Four. Special cases. Emergency unfucking. Moving. Unfucking your digital life. Schoolwork and work. Emergency unfucking. The phone rings. It's your mom, or your landlord, or an old friend who's in town and wants to stop in. You hang up the phone and realize that you have to get your home ready for the presence of another human being within a day or less. That's terrifying. You look around your house and realize that you haven't picked anything up in weeks or months. No one's judging you here. And it dawns on you that there's no way to turn it into something that looks like an actual responsible adult lives in it within a reasonable amount of time. So the panic sets in, and you start trying to think of a way, any way, to keep other people out of your space so you can avoid having to deal with it right now. But resist the urge to panic. Panic leads to fear. Fear leads to procrastination, and procrastination leads to the dark side. The dark side being where you lock the doors, close the blinds, and hope whoever's coming over just forgets the whole thing and leaves you alone. While that's a perfectly understandable response, it's not particularly helpful when, for example, your landlord gives you a notice of inspection, or your heat is broken and you need to let the repair person come in and do their thing so you don't freeze to death. In some circumstances, you really just have to let someone in. There's no way around it. So now it's time to turn your panic into something useful and channel all of that stress into getting things well enough in order so that you won't be embarrassed or evicted. It seems pretty hopeless, I know, but you can make it better. You just need to turn your disaster of a place into somewhere you can actually let people into. Remember, panic is not your friend. So make peace with the fact that someone is going to be in your space, and get ready to go to work. Emergency cleaning is a special circumstance, outside of the scope of what we're trying to accomplish long-term in regard to cleaning and organizing. You're looking to bring the overall state of things to a point where someone can come in and look around, hell, maybe even sit down and stay a while. Okay, let's not go overboard. You're going to be focusing on pretty much everything. And you need to make sure you aren't getting distracted by side projects or spending time on areas that aren't going to make much difference in the grand scheme of your home's overall cleanliness. The time for procrastination is done, and it's time to get to it. Your time here is limited. You're working on a deadline, and you can't put it off any longer. While sitting around stressing about it is completely normal, it's not something that's helping you get things ready. So acknowledge that this whole process is pretty crappy and stressful, and that you're going to be working your ass off for a little while. Then move that to the back burner long enough to buckle down and get some shit done. Eventually, the goal is to get you to a place where your base level of clean is good enough that emergency cleaning is no longer necessary. But if you aren't at that point yet, having a solid plan in place is necessary to avoid the panic inherent in these situations. The clearer your plan, the easier it will be to follow, and the less likely you are to give up or get overwhelmed. When you're emergency cleaning, you can't be focusing on the tiny little details. You're looking to bring the general mess level down from a 10 to a 5 or 4, or wherever you can get it in the time that you have. If you're not looking at the big picture, you're going to end up with a couple of really sparkling clean spots in the middle of a disaster area. Think of it like sanding a really rough piece of wood. If you concentrate on just sanding one tiny spot, you're going to end up with one very smooth spot surrounded by a whole lot of rough patches. Whereas if you just do a little across the whole surface, the whole thing is going to be smoother overall. It might not be perfect, but it's better, and it's all about the same level, so nothing looks comparatively better or worse than any other part. So keep your attention on making the mess better overall, rather than trying to deep clean every square inch to perfection. As you're emergency cleaning, you're probably going to get distracted by things you notice that need attention, and it's going to seem like now would be a great time to do this stuff. It's not. You're going to be tempted to start a detailed project. Maybe organize your bookshelf, or clean out the fridge, or finally cull your sock collection. Don't. Now is not the time for that. That'll eat up a big chunk of time that you just don't have. If it makes you feel better, keep a list of the projects you're tempted to start. You can always revisit them once you're past this crisis, but do not make the mistake of wasting time on detailed stuff that's not going to make a noticeable difference in the overall level of mess. You need to get started, and you need to do it now. Get ready. First things first, you need to get prepared for what's ahead. Put on some great music or your favorite podcast, eat something, and make sure your beverage of choice is close at hand. Not an alcoholic one. Drunk cleaning is like an advanced class, and you're not at that stage yet. You can't afford to lose time on an ill-placed nap or a drunken debate on the hierarchy of 90s pop stars and their discographies. Put the computer away unless you're using it for music. You don't need to get distracted with the internet and risk losing your momentum. Do not fool yourself into thinking you can just check something online real quick, and then you'll get right back to work. You won't, and you know it. It's too easy to lose huge chunks of time online and then look up hours later and wonder where the day went. Distractions of all kinds, whether it's a detailed household project or an internet spiral, are the enemy here, and they're what's most likely to keep you from getting everything done. As you take your breaks throughout the emergency cleaning process, consider whether or not spending time online is a good idea for you. If you in any way doubt your ability to walk away from the computer after 10 minutes, it's better to just avoid it altogether until you're done. Once you're prepared, make your bed. Yeah, I know. You hate making your bed, and it seems like this should not be the priority right now. But this will give you someplace tidy to retreat to if necessary, and will immediately make your bedroom look like 20% cleaner with the bare minimum of effort. Next, get your cleaning supplies together. Make sure you have plenty of trash bags and some dust rags. Locate your vacuum cleaner and a broom. Take a minute and fill the kitchen sink up with some hot soapy water, so you can put dirty dishes in there as you go. If there are already dishes in it, that's fine. This will only help you out later on. Fill the bathroom sink with some soapy water too. It'll help make everything easier to clean later. Open the shades or curtains, and if it's possible, open the windows to get some fresh air circulating. Get going. Now it's time to really get started. Grab a trash bag and go from room to room to throw away anything that's obviously trash. Pick up any recyclables and make sure those get to where they need to go too. Work methodically around each room, starting from the entrance, working in one direction, and looking up, down, and around. Once you've finished collecting all of the trash you can find, take the bags out of your house if that's possible. Keep in mind that putting things like trash bags down instead of taking them out means you're just going to have to deal with them later. Save yourself the time and aggravation by doing it all at once. While you're at it, collect the trash from any other cans or bags you have elsewhere and take that out too. Replace the trash bags in the cans, if applicable. With just the trash taken care of, it's probably already looking and smelling a little bit better. Take a minute to breathe and relax a little bit. It's all going to get done, and it's going to be okay. Next, go from room to room and gather up all the dishes. Go ahead and deposit them in that sink full of soapy water you set up before you got started. If the sink is already full, wash one load of dishes or load up the dishwasher. Get another load of things soaking and then move on. Once you move on to the rest of the house, after each stage, revisit the dishes and do some more. Don't get totally wrapped up in dishes though. You want to be doing other stuff in between. If your dish situation is bad enough, you could theoretically spend all day on it, and that's not what we're aiming for here. Once the first phase of dish warfare is over, take a 10-minute break and grab a bite to eat or something to drink and recharge a little. But most importantly, when your break is over, you need to get up and get moving again. Post-break, Do another round to every room and get all your stray clothes together. Clean laundry needs to get put away in its proper home, and dirty laundry needs to go in the hamper, or whatever it is you're using in lieu of a hamper. You don't need to start a load, but just make sure it's all together in the right place, so no one is going to stumble over your dirty socks, or worse, when they're least expecting it. That just gets embarrassing for both of you. If you have a little extra time, there's nothing wrong with throwing some clothes in the washer, but keep in mind that laundry has 3 steps. And if you aren't going to be able to, or want to, put it away, then just go ahead and save the laundry for later. The important thing is to get it off of the floor and the furniture. You don't need to share your wardrobe with the world, or even your landlord. Once your garbage, dishes, and laundry are under control, think about where people are actually going to be when they're in your house. If it's a social visit, they're probably not going to end up in the bedroom. Unless it's, a social visit. So you can probably just shut that door and not worry about it too much beyond trash, dishes, and laundry. This tactic doesn't work if, for example, your landlord is coming over for maintenance and will need to get in there, or if you're not totally sure where they're going to need access. Regardless, even if you're closing off doors, it's still good to have the trash and dishes dealt with. As far as closets and cabinets, unless you have a reason to believe that someone's going to be opening these, leave them alone. Don't give in to the temptation to put more crap in them, because you're just going to have to deal with it later. But don't make them a cleaning or organizing priority right now. You can do it once the visit is over. In the visible areas like the kitchen and living room, clearing off your flat surfaces is going to go a very long way toward making the place look a lot less chaotic, even if it's not particularly clean. Things tend to accumulate on anything horizontal, so a huge amount of your clutter is likely concentrated on those surfaces. Start with the most visible flat surfaces, tables, countertops, etc., and clear them off. Do your best not to simply relocate the contents to somewhere else that you're just going to have to deal with later. Baskets and boxes full of random junk rarely get put away, and you know it. But try instead to put things away for good. It's tempting to just stash all the crap behind one of those doors you closed before, but all you're doing when you do that is shifting the mess. You're not actually cleaning up. In the absolute worst of time crunches, this is an okay, if not ideal, way to deal with things, but if there's any possible way to avoid it, do. Don't just stash the junk somewhere else. Put it away. Otherwise, months from now, you're going to find yourself tripping over those baskets of random crap you stashed in a hurry, and you'll be right back where you started for the next unexpected visit. Keep working on your counters, tables, and shelves until they're all passably clear. Once you've cleared one off, wipe it down. After finishing one surface, go do some more dishes before moving on to the next area. Take a short break every so often. It might seem counterintuitive to take a break when you're dealing with such strict time constraints, but it'll help to keep you from getting burned out and grumpy. Chances are, grumpy is going to show up anyway, but that's okay. All that intense work on a deadline is basically a recipe for crankiness, to which very few of us are immune. Take some time to regroup and do something nice for yourself. Flat surfaces are probably going to take up the bulk of your time, so pace yourself as best you can while still working quickly and efficiently and avoiding distractions. After your flat surfaces are clear, do a quick dusting of anything you haven't gotten to, if needed. Don't spend a lot of time on this, just do a quick wipe down of anything that's obviously dusty and gross. Half-assing the job is totally acceptable here since we're going for speed. No need to go all out trying to do it perfectly. A quick go-through with glass cleaner for any visible glass is good. Get the bathroom mirror, too, while you're at it. Don't even think about trying to wash your windows, though. Windows take forever, and some things will just have to wait. Now, especially if you're expecting a social visit, spend some time cleaning up in the bathroom. If it's a maintenance or a landlord visit and the problem isn't in the bathroom, just do the bare minimum. Put things away, wipe down the counters and toilet, and sweep. If you're having people over who are likely to need to use the bathroom at some point, be a little bit more thorough. Bathroom time is alone time, and in someone else's house, people notice things because there's really nothing else to look at. So take a few minutes and wipe everything down. Give the toilet a good cleaning. Change out the hand towels, and make sure you're all stocked up on soap and toilet paper. Take a break when you're done. Next, move into the kitchen. Your dishes should be pretty well dealt with at this point, so just put away any remaining clean ones. Your counters should be fairly clear after having been cleaned off with the other flat surfaces. So now take a few minutes to wipe down the stove and any grungy surfaces like cabinets or the outside of the microwave, and put away anything else that's not where it belongs. Wipe down the counters and do one last sweep of dishes to make sure the sink is, finally, clear. If there's more trash to take out, now would be a good time to handle that. Don't forget to take another little break. Double check. If you're expecting your landlord or a maintenance call, go to wherever they're going to be working or inspecting and take a couple of minutes to clean up that spot. If their attention is going to be focused on a fairly small area, it might be a good idea to tidy it up a little more thoroughly. Also, if you know from a previous inspection that there's something your landlord is particularly fixated on, spend some time on that. In general, landlords like to make sure the appliances are in good shape and that everything is basically clean and in good condition. Structural issues are the landlord's responsibility. Whether or not they actually accept that responsibility varies greatly. But cosmetic appearance and overall cleanliness are your job, and that's what the landlord is going to be looking at. So take a few minutes to do a little more work on that. Once that's done, take another lap around to every room and deal with anything that's jumping out at you as out of place or messy. If you notice it, another person might too. Again, don't get too wrapped up in any one thing. You're not looking to do a deep clean, just taking the overall mess down a notch. Once you're happy, or at least content, with the general state of things, clean up the floors. Run a vacuum or do a quick sweep. But unless it's totally necessary, you can skip a thorough mopping. If anything is sticky or gross, do a basic mop with some hot water. But don't get all wrapped up in getting your floors clean enough to eat off of. No one's actually going to eat off your floor. I'm hoping. So that's just going to take up a chunk of time you really don't have to spare. Again, you're looking for improvement, not perfection. So do the best you can quickly. And then make sure you put all of your cleaning supplies away once you've finished. Once you're done, step outside of your home. Be very careful not to lock yourself out, and walk back in. If anything catches your eye or is out of place, deal with it quickly. Once that's done, high-five yourself on a job well done. I guess this looks sort of like a clap. Take a shower, put on some clean clothes, and have something to eat. Emergency cleaning is stressful and crappy, and you got through it. Now try to enjoy having other people in your home, knowing that all your hard work means they might just be fooled into thinking you have your shit together.
And that's where we pause today. Thanks for stopping by. Be kind to one another. Life is way too short. This is Silky Feather signing off. Hit the like and subscribe button today. Bye-bye.